So this is day 13 of the videos I'm making to help raise awareness and understanding of PTSD. This is going to be a longer video because I'm going to be talking about the memory system and our brain development and how all of that interacts to create our experiences of PTSD. And it's understanding this bit is really key to kind of understanding what's going on with PTSD and why we experience it the way we do. And really the phenomenon of PTSD lies in the interaction between our old brain, which I've talked about in the past, and our new brain. So as I've already said, got props and everything today. The old brain is like our reptile brain. It's only interested in survival. It's very fast and very basic. And then we have our new brain, which came along new 300,000 years ago, which is the bit that does all the thinking and all our sort of problem solving and things like that. And the couple of things that are really important to know. First of all, our old brain, as I said, is really basic, and it can't really tell the difference between an external threat and the memory of a threat generated by our internal brain and by the modern brain. So whether it's a tiger coming to eat us or the memory of the tiger coming to eat us, our old brain isn't very good at telling the two apart. And it has no sense of time. It has a very limited sense of time. It doesn't really get the idea of threat in the past, present or future. It just goes threat. And that's really important as well when we think about things like flashbacks. And the other thing that's really important to know is because it's very survival based, it won't let anything get put into kind of our long-term memory storage. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but it won't let anything get put into our long-term memory storage if it feels it needs to know that to help our survival. So our threat system, which I've talked about a little bit in the past, sits in the old brain, very fast, dominates all our thinking when it fires off. And our memory system, which is what's key to thinking about PTSD, because it's kind of the interaction between these two systems, between the threat system and the memory system, that really generates those experiences of PTSD. So this interaction is what's really important. But to kind of understand a bit more, I'm going to talk a little bit about how the memory system works when it's working normally. Now, disclaimer, this is like a really simplified version of the memory system. So just be aware of that. So with our memory system, we have our working memory, which is like a desktop, which is why I've got this desk here today. We've got our working memory, and then we have long-term memory. And for the computer geeks, this is like RAM and putting it in a folder in the filing system, I'm told. So this is stuff that we can access really easily, and then this is stuff that gets put away in the basement, and is much harder because you have to rifle through and pull things out if you want to access it. And so when things crop up in the day, our brain will, and this is the memory system and the new brain, will file them and put them in the long-term system, or else hold them on the working memory. So it might go family. I'm going to tag that with family, put it into long-term storage. And then I've got family again. I'm going to tag that, family, long-term storage. And then work. Okay, this is a work thing, so that's going to get tagged with work. Tag it, long-term storage. Work, no, this is activities. Nice bit of camping. Activities gets put down. So this is my memory working normally, just filing things away as they come up. Oh, family again. Here we go. So family, and that gets put away. And then if I want to find something, I have to kind of rummage around and go, oh, where's that memory? Okay, that's the memory I wanted. And then put it back. So it's that slower access that's really important, because our threat system won't let anything that it thinks it needs fast access to get put in here. So if we get something really traumatic happen, there's our trauma, something really traumatic has happened, straight away the threat system is activated. And every time our memory system tries you're just going to have to remember that says memory system here. There you go. Every time our memory system tries to file this away, our threat system goes, nope, need to know this, can't file it, can't put it away, this is important information. But also, because our threat system is our old brain and it doesn't really understand the difference between internal and external, past and present, every time this gets picked up and looked at, it goes trauma and it fires off, and that's where we can get things like flashbacks, because our threat system can't really differentiate between past and present, or that this is something that has happened and is a memory rather than an external thing coming into us. So this isn't going anywhere in this format, but our brain can start to just kind of shove it to the side. And so now I can carry on. Okay, so I've got work, tag that, put that away. Activities, that's a very old one, tag that, put that away. Something else, and this looks vaguely like this. So straight away, that threat system fires up, goes there the same, and brings that. So now, every time I see this, the thinking part of my brain that goes, I really don't like these flashbacks, these really traumatic memories, this kind of goes, okay, red splodges, bit like memory, bit like the trauma, to be avoided. And so this doesn't really get put into the long-term memory system either. So this gets shoved to the side, because our thinking bit of our brain is trying to do two things. One is it's trying to file it. Every time it does that, it fails. The other thing is it doesn't like the experience of flashbacks and all those memories, so it can also be pushing it away. So you've got a little bit of a push-pull going on, and I did have one client actually describe it as a civil war inside their brain, with the push-pull of keep it front and centre, push it away. And so now I've got red splodges that I'm a bit wary of, and the thinking part of my brain is going, yeah, let's just avoid red splodges, because that reminds me of trauma. So then I go back to my filing, and I've got activities, and that's great. And then I've got another trauma, another memory, because this time it says trauma, and so that's like another memory. Again, this comes front and centre, takes up my whole world, fires off the threat system. And so now I'm trying to avoid anything that says trauma. So now, because it's the same word, not because it says trauma. So now I've got red splodges I'm avoiding, letters that spell trauma that I'm avoiding, memories of the actual threat that I'm avoiding, and the threat system is constantly here. So so you can see where that hypervigilance comes from, because I'm not I'm not only looking for the threat, I'm also looking for avoiding these things. So my world gets smaller and smaller as I try and avoid touching all these painful things that straight away re-trigger that trauma memory. So we're getting this push-pull, and when we look at it this way and look at the interaction between our threat system and our memory system, a bit like Blue Peter here, or our old brain and our new brain, we can really see how it's that interaction that kind of sets us up to experience PTSD the way we do. And it makes all these really different phenomena really understandable, in terms of actually it's this So the fact that our new brain kind of got bolted on the front and they don't talk very well and they're not integrated very well, that explains why we experience PTSD the way we do. So I hope that that's made some sort of sense. I hope I've made some sort of sense there in terms of understanding how memory works to sustain that experience of a post-trauma stress response. So that's me for today, and I'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Okay.